Peace and blessings, beautiful people. I hope all is well with you within whatever world that you're experiencing. Within that world, today is a brand new day, a new experience, new possibilities. But the question is, with all the new that's taking place, will you operate in it with the same you? If you think about it, at this point, it's the 15th of January, 2026. Just 2 weeks ago, there was a multitude talking about the trend of new year, new me. But strategically, we already back within that same particular cycle of still just operating out of the familiar. And in that familiar, there's there's really no change. In the earth, if you think about it, change wasn't taught until after we was lied to. In order for us as a people to understand that now we always have to go back to the beginning. And in the beginning, if you think about it, Genesis 1, verses 1, 2, and 3 in the NLT version says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was formless and empty, and darkness covered the deep waters. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the surface of the waters. Then God said, let there be light, and there was light. Then in Genesis 2, verse 18, it says, then the Lord God said, it is not good for man to be alone. I will make him a helper who is just right for him. Then in Genesis 3, Eve listened to a thought that was different from God and what her husband taught her or told her. So think about it. Genesis 1, they gave us the understanding that God said, let there be light, and there was light. Each one of us are that light within the darkness. There's so much darkness that's taking place within this earth, but we were sent here with a purpose. We were sent here on an assignment, and in that assignment, there's a multitude of things that had to take place in order for the assignment to be fulfilled. So your life was designed by those same thoughts that were different from what the Lord said. Because if you think about it, we wasn't taught to actually operate out of the things of the Lord. We were taught to operate out of the things of family traditions. And in those traditions, certain things came with the families that we were raised into. So what was that thought that was different, that you accepted, that was outside of the will of God? Each vehicle has something in common, regardless of the make or model, regardless of if it's a smart car, whatever type of vehicle could it be. What is it that every vehicle have in common? Vehicle have in common was considered as a blind spot. Each time you hear one of the messages that the Lord gives me to produce into the earth, because I believe that we're all farmers, and the things that we speak are seeds, and those seeds have to sprout or grow positively or negatively depending on the mindset of the individual that's actually receiving that particular seed. So each time you hear my message or a message that he gives me, I'm going to tap into what's considered as your blind spot. Jeremiah 1 and 5 in the Passion Translation, it states that before I shaped you in the womb, I knew you intimately. I had divine plans for you before I gave you life, and I set you apart and chose you to be mine. You are my prophetic gift to the nations. Let's break that down. Before he shaped us in the womb, he knew us intimately. When you think about having or experiencing an intimate relationship with someone, that means that that's one of the highest quality type of relationships that you can actually experience. A relationship of intimacy. A relationship of intimacy in the earth is potentially going to get you to a point to where you marry someone. But in this case, these are things that happen before we even came into this life. So if you really think about it, before you even had a name, you had an assignment. And before you came into this world, the Lord set you apart, he consecrated you, and he put a hedge of protection over your life. Before I shaped you in the womb, I knew you intimately. In that intimate relationship, if you really think about it, chances are you and the Lord had the conversation on behalf of what family he was going to place you in. Because at the end of the day, if you think about it, we're just spirits having a human experience. So, in that relationship of intimacy, the Lord showed you what family he was going to place you in, as well as you told the Lord that regardless of what these people would try to do to me, I would still come here to be the change. So, really think about it. I believe at this point within my walk with Christ is that we all came to live the life of Jesus. You heard me? So, if you think about it, he knew you intimately. He had divine plans for you before you even had a name within this world. I had divine plans for you before I gave you life. So think about it. Before he even gave us life, before he placed us in our mother's womb, he had divine plans for us. He consecrated us, he set us apart, and he put a hedge of protection over us. I had divine plans for you before I gave you life, and I set you apart, and I chose you to be mine. So we were already set up before placement. But strategically, once the placement happened, was when everything changed. You heard me? So watch this. Before you had a name, you had an assignment. Before you came into this world, you were already for the Lord. The Lord has created you into his prophetic gift to the nations. Now, strategically, there's a lot of people who I'm still coming across present day that don't believe or haven't tapped into their calling or their purpose because strategically they went or they're living under the guidelines of the family that they were placed in, when in actuality, we all came here for basically to live the life of Jesus, if you really think about it. Um, the day that you were born was a day of significance because if you really think, the day that the Lord placed you within your mother's womb was your actual birthday. But when it comes towards the actual world, you're not seen or you're not experienced in the world until 6 to 9 months later. So the whole time that you're experiencing this earth, you're really operating out of what people call a birthday. Your birthday is really the day that the Lord placed you within the womb. But in this life, you're going to consider yourself these particular type of zodiac signs, when in actuality, the birth was supposed to start that particular access to the assignment that you came into this life to operate out of. Watch this. There's a multitude of people who are still in the mind frame of us coming into families. Remember, you only came into the family to be the change of the family. I feel like we didn't come to actually be family. And here's another script. Matthew 10:34-40. It says, "Do not imagine that I've come to bring peace to the earth. I came not to bring peace but a sword. I've come to set a man against his father, a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. Your enemies will be right in your own household. If you love your father or mother more than you love me, you're not worthy of being mine. If you love your son or daughter more than you love me, you are not worthy of being mine. If you refuse to take up your cross and follow me, you are not worthy of being mine. If you cling to your life, you will lose it. But if you give up your life for me, you will find it. Anyone who receives you receives me, and anyone who receives me receives the Father who sent me." Now, think that over. The Lord had already had an assignment on your life before you came into this experience. Because if you think about it, this experience is decided by a date, two dates, and a dash in the middle. And the dash in the middle represents life. And in that dash, certain strategic things have to happen within the dash, regardless on if you're ready for it or not. So as you're getting this experience of me, chances are for the first time, at me getting the experience of you, my conversation to you is you are a prophetic gift to the nations. But strategically, it's a chance that you don't believe in it in this situation or in this life to the point to where there's so many people that's going to come through this dash and live the wrong life. Chances are the Lord could have put you here back in the 1800s or the 1700s or maybe the 21st, the year 2100 or something like that. But the time frame is so significant towards you being here at this specific time to be the change of the family that you were actually sent into. I know that somebody said in the comments said that they were sent. You were sent into that family to be the change of that particular generation. Think about the cousins and the people or the brothers and the sisters that you grew up with or those cousins or whatnot who in that particular process came to be the change. Each one of us came to be the change. The people before us came to be the change, but at the same time, not everybody's understanding or getting that particular information to know that we came just like the Bible. The Bible is basic instructions before leaving earth. You heard me? So every opportunity is a new opportunity to make this change. Think about it. In the world, you don't the only thing that's changing in a lot of people's world is the date on the calendar. Outside of that, they're remaining the same and it's just being what it's being. So the day that you were born was very significant, but there's a reason why you can't remember it. You ever thought about it like that? You can remember all kind of stuff, but you can't remember the day that you were born. You were sent here with unlimited potential. Think about it. Jesus was sent here with unlimited potential. This is your situation. You were sent here with unlimited potential. The day that you were born was what I consider as a balloon with helium in it. When they pulled you out your mother's womb, they tied a string to the balloon and they handed it to your parents. Now, there's some individuals who have experienced a balloon release within this life, and then there's some that haven't experienced a balloon release before. But those that haven't, they understand the gist of what's actually taking place at this event. But for the people that's in the back that have experienced a balloon release before, my question to you is, why don't you see any of the balloons on your way home? Man, you know what, Coach, man, I never thought about it like that. The reason why you don't see the balloons on the way home is because those balloons, once you release the string on that balloon has unlimited potential. So if you think about it, my next question to you is, and I'm gonna go ahead and close because there's other things that I want to talk about in different videos. My question to you is, who is holding your string? As you allow that to soak into your spirit, and you allow yourself to realize who has been holding your string. Think about it. You came into this world with unlimited potential. You came into this world before you even had a name, you had an assignment. Before you came into this world, he had divine plans for you before he gave you life. And he set you apart and chose you to be his. But chances are you don't have no set apart friends. Chances are you're getting the understanding that you've been holding your own string your whole life. And the reason why you've been holding your own string your whole life is because tradition taught you how to hold your own string. If you really think about it, chances are at this point, wherever you at in life, there's a chance that you're only waiting for your turn to be at the middle at the next homegoing service. But anyway, this is my time. I just wanted to come through a little bit, introduce y'all. I am Tommy Durrell. I focus on the mindset. I focus on changing the narrative. The Lord has sent me into your world to help to create positive change. So hopefully we see each other again. Until then, understand that there's somebody that's in ICU at this point that's been waiting to hear your voice all their lives. And some way, somehow, you still don't believe that you have a purpose within this experience. God bless.